All right, I thought I would do a little recording here about what the best ways are to find motivated sellers. If you're in the residential game and even the commercial game, it's all about motivated sellers, right? So, what are the most effective marketing methods out there right now to find motivated sellers? You have direct mail, you have the internet, you have Facebook, um, door knocking, driving for dollars, things of that nature. So, what's the most effective ways out there right now in the residential market and commercial market to find motivated sellers and off market deals? As far as direct mail goes, it is still very effective. And just like anything else, you really need to know your KPIs and your metrics to really know your business, right? So, what's the difference between a KPI and a metric? So, a KPI is a result or a goal, it's your performance indicator. It's the outcome you're looking for. So, if you want to have a 1% response in direct mail, that 1% response would be a KPI. If you have a revenue goal, that revenue goal would be your KPI. The metrics are all the little things, all the little numbers and steps that make up that goal or that result, that KPI. So if you want a 1% response and you want a revenue goal, then you need to say, well, I need to send out 1,000 pieces of mail at a 1% response. That's going to get me 100 responses. Out of that 100 responses, I want 10 appointments to get that one deal, right? So all of those metrics make up that KPI of that one deal, which is your goal. That's your outcome. So you really need to know those. You really need to track everything you're doing all the way down to the last little detail. Even if you have to get 100 call rail numbers, every single piece of marketing when it comes to direct mail should have a different tracking number on it so that you know exactly what piece is performing, what area is performing, what day of the week is performing. Those are all of the things that you need to figure out in order to really maximize the ROI on that mailing. And then the list. The list is very important as well. Probably, looking for motivation. The best way to drill down for me, the best deals that I've ever gotten have always been vacant houses. So vacant houses are really good deals, really great opportunities. Usually that is motivation. So if you think about vacant houses and you stack on top of that all the other motivational drivers, such as code violations, utility bills behind, taxes, tax delinquent, estate, probate. Not all vacant houses are probate, right? So if you look at stacking your list, and most of your list companies out there give you the ability to stack different levels of motivation, so you can really drill down and get a very niche list and stack all those things where you can find the deepest motivation. So if you've got a vacant house that's also in foreclosure, that's also behind on its taxes and also behind on utility bills, or have had the utilities shut off and then have code violations, if you've got all those things going on, there's some motivation there on that, right? So you can try different combinations of list stacking. And if you're operating at a very high level, you can allocate marketing dollars to test different things when it comes to direct mail. If you're just starting out and your budget's limited and you want to do some direct mail, then, pick one of those things. Typically vacant houses are going to be your best, and then just go kind of broad and just start honing in on other things. Once you start getting responses, ask them what's going on and try to dig a little deeper to see if you can find other ways to go after that. A lot of those lists are free. The utility list, a lot of times you can get that from a municipality. Code violations, tax delinquents, a lot of those are free lists that you can get if your budget is limited. And you can sit down and literally handwrite notes. Hire a teenager or one of your kids to help you stuff envelopes. And, you can really get started that way. Craigslist is also another way to find some deals that can be very effective. It's hard to find motivation on Craigslist. And the internet, a lot of times, so let's talk about the internet. So direct mail is very effective. There are people using it at a very high level, getting a lot of deals, but it takes a lot of mailing to get a lot of deals. If you want to do 100 deals a year, typically you're going to have to mail $10,000 to $20,000 a month worth of mail to try to get $100 or 100 deals a year. If you want to get to 200, it's going to take 20 to 40. If you want to get to 300, it's going to take you, $75 to $100,000 a month in direct mail. And I do have some clients that are mailing at that level and are doing those things. And, at that level, at the higher levels, it's all about your metrics and your KPIs to really figure out what's the most effective way to go. And you need markets big enough to support that, right? Because at some point you can reach a level of saturation with direct mail, just like you can the internet. So the next thing is the internet. So you have AdWords and you have search engine optimization, SEO, and you have AdWords. Those are your two ways to maximize your internet traffic. And I know a lot of people that's all they do. I've got a client that's all he does is internet um, marketing and SEO and AdWords, and he gets all of his deals from that. And that can be very effective as well. But again, you've got to test different things in different markets because things work better in some markets and aren't as effective in other markets. Sometimes direct mail is really effective and internet's not. And a lot of the markets, the bigger markets, you're facing competition from Zillow, from iHouse buyers like OfferPad and Instant Offers and companies like that that are spending a lot of money. So you're not going to be able to compete with those guys on pay-per-click a lot of times, but you can in the organic search, and there's a lot of ways to do that through video and traditional organic search marketing type things. So you just really got to test that and find out what's working for you. But AdWords is very effective, and SEO is extremely effective. And you want to have a good, easy to navigate website with calls of action. So as far as other online mediums, you have Facebook ads. A lot of people are complaining about the ineffectiveness of Facebook ads in a lot of areas, and Facebook ads can be tricky. Again, it's gonna depend on the price point you're after and the areas that you're looking in, and it's like anything else, right? You got to spend a lot of money, and you got to have a follow-up system to sift through those leads as they come in to be able to qualify them and follow up with them. As with direct mail or internet leads, same thing. You want to have a good, robust CRM that you can put them into, and you want to follow up and follow through with those leads. I've bought deals 2-3 years down the road from when I first contacted them years before, sometimes for less money, sometimes for more money. You just never know. The key to marketing any product, any business, is you got to be in front of the customer when they're ready to do business, right? So that's why you see ads running for companies that you would think, man, why does Coca-Cola need to advertise? Why does any big company need to advertise? It's more top of mind awareness, right? So that when you're ready to reach for something, you're like, hey, I'm going to have a Coke, and there are Coke people and Pepsi people. There's direct mail people. There's internet people. Facebook ads are different. A lot of those metrics are changing in terms of targeting and audience. So it's hard to drill that down, but you can take your lists that you are purchasing and upload that into Facebook and create a custom audience and target those people on Facebook with the motivation. If you don't know how to do that, there's services out there that do that. And I have clients that are getting a lot of great results with that kind of targeting on Facebook, creating custom audiences. That's the best way to maximize your Facebook ads. Facebook is also very effective for selling your deals. If you're looking for cash buyers, Facebook is one of the best ways to find cash buyers these days. So the last thing is YouTube. Not very many people are using YouTube to find motivated sellers. YouTube can be very effective, and it's very inexpensive to run ads on YouTube. And if you're watching YouTube videos like this one, chances are it's going to get stopped in the middle for an ad or along the way or at the beginning. And those ads are very inexpensive. And I do have some people that are having a lot of effectiveness with YouTube ads. They're doing, very effective in certain markets. Again, every market's different, so you got to try a little bit of everything. The biggest key, if I can give you anything to take away from this, it's your KPIs and your metrics. You don't know your business unless you know your numbers, and the only way to know your business is to know your numbers. You need to know the metrics, which make up the KPIs. The metrics are all the little numbers that make up the big numbers. At every level of your market, in every neighborhood in your market, with every piece of marketing that you're doing. That way you can maximize your dollars, maximize your ROI, maximize the time that you and your team spend, and get the best results that you can get for the dollar spent. So those are the top ways that my clients and that the top investors and wholesalers out there are finding deals. The commercial market, it's the same stuff. It's just a different conversation. Finding commercial properties and finding motivated sellers in commercial properties. Driving for dollars is very effective for finding motivated commercial property owners. They're just a little bit more sophisticated, so it's a different conversation. They can be easier to get creative deals with because they're investors themselves and they understand it. And if there's a level of motivation and they're not right for a retail sale, a lot of times commercial property owners are willing to finance and willing to do creative deals in order to get that property sold if it doesn't make sense for a cash buyer. So commercial can be very good as well. That's a whole different conversation. I'm going to make another video, several videos strictly on commercial properties. But for today, this one was mainly focused on residential and how to find motivated sellers and what lists are performing best for motivated sellers. Probate's probably number one. Obviously pre-foreclosure can be good. Estate properties, probate, vacant properties, utility delinquents, tax delinquent, code violations. Those are all your top lists. Nothing new. The key is, the new thing is, track those metrics, track those pieces. I don't, if you have to get 20, 30 call rail numbers or whatever it is you're using to track, just go ahead and do it. The last thing is bandit signs. Bandit signs are a very effective way to find motivated sellers. But again, having that system of follow-up, being able to answer that call when it comes in, or have a service answer those calls for you when it comes in, that is the key to bandit signs. And also putting bandit signs on the properties that you already own and are renovating or wholesaling. That's a very effective way to do bandit signs, to put them on a property that's visible so that the sign won't get picked up, like on the side of a building. If you know somebody that's got a property with a building, you can put a big banner up there, and it's a private property, so that you won't have any trouble with cities, things like that. So when it comes to bandit signs, think creatively, think more like a sign company, like a billboard company. Try to look for buildings and commercial properties that you could put a banner or a bigger sign on that advertises your company, that you buy houses or that you buy properties. And the other thing too is, when you're talking to sellers, make sure you capitalize on that conversation and that lead. Ask them what else, where else. Do they have any other property they would like to sell anywhere else, any other type of property? You never know what you'll dig up. And if it's something that you aren't interested or don't know anything about, if you're talking to a residential homeowner and you ask them if they have any other property, and they say, yeah, I have an apartment building, or I have a commercial building, or I have a vacant land, there's other people out there looking for those deals. So you always want to capitalize on every single contact you get. Ask questions and listen. Seek first to understand. Look to serve others. Try to help them solve their issues, no matter